And we're live again.
Are we now?
Isn't that awesome? Okay. Now, where were we before we got so rudely interrupted?
That is a good question.
Oh, yeah. So,
George Orwell.
well,
Correct.
yeah, that too. But we are slowly being moved. It's kind of trippy. We are slowly being moved into what is a monitored society. So, what is a monitored society?
I think my simplest nutshell answer is where you can't take a shit without the government knowing about it, but
Well, yeah. Okay. So to have a monitored society or to be a monitored society, number one is there has to be a entity or whatever you want to call it that has control. Right? And how do they get control? Anybody? Bueller?
by insisting that it's the only way to survive.
Create fear.
Do what?
Create fear amongst the people.
Yes. Yes, exactly. Create fear.
Called communism?
And what does fear do? It enables them to control.
Mm-hmm.
Control you, control your life, control everything about things, right?
Because a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals.
Yes, well, there is that too. So, here's the deal. How do you become a monitored society then? One, you have to be controllable. So, like that guy said in the opening part of that video, it's a beta test to see what? Who are the ones being controlled, who can they control, who they can't control, et cetera, et cetera.
Who doesn't give a fuck about their supposed guidelines?
How's another way that you can become a monitored society?
Well, Zan, I'm sure you'll enlighten us. Oh.
You have to control the currency.
Oh, derp.
You have to
Hello.
be able to show what people are buying, where people are buying, who they're buying it from, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you do that? You get rid of things that make it easy for them to have unmonitored transactions, right?
Right. Take away the cash system.
Exactly.
And that, I think, I just figured out, like a week ago, I was racking my brain, and I'm like, okay, this does not make sense, because I saw it in one convenience store. Due to the lack of, or due to
Change shortage.
the coin shortage, cash and debit is preferred, or exact change. And then about a week after that, I saw it again in a different convenience store. I'm like, hold up. This makes absolutely no sense. It's not affecting any kind of inflation. It's not like there's a shortage of materials because we're not using precious metals. We're using the most common metals available to make the coins. We're using copper, nickel, aluminum. God knows what other common metals they're using. I'm like, okay, so if it's not a material shortage and it's not affecting our inflation, what the actual fuck? And then I'm like, wait a second. They can't track cash purchases.
So there's two sides of that, right? Number one, I really don't care because I rarely keep cash. When I do have cash, it's a pleasant surprise in my wallet. Like I'll take out my wallet to go get one of my cards out, and it's like, oh, hey, I have cash. Yeah, cool. I'll use that instead. But I usually don't keep cash, and I haven't for a very long time because it's not convenient for me to have cash.
And there it is.
It's not just the convenience factor, though, right? So let's say you work a full-time job, right? You work a full-time job, and you want to make some extra money on the side. You can go to day labor places. You can go to, your local drug dealer. You can, the point is that not only will it be monitored transactions, but monitored income. And so then they know who they can target and who they can't. The who being, the who. So that's how you monitor the transactions, is by getting a cashless society, right? They've been doing that since direct deposit came available, since electronic transactions came available. Here's the bad side, right? If you don't have cash or have access to cash anymore, and all of your money is electronic, anybody remember 9/10, the day before 9/11?
Oh, and Rumsfeld.
Rumsfeld comes out and he says that there's a 3 trillion with a T discrepancy. They lost $3 trillion. Okay? The following day, 9/11, the Pentagon was hit by a plane, right?
Oh.
Supposedly, right where all the server information and transaction information and everything was for that $3 trillion. How fucking convenient. I back up my damn phone, my contacts on my phone almost daily. And yet these were the only computers anywhere in the world that had access to this information, right? $3 trillion just magically poof disappeared.
That's convenient for real.
So if you don't have cash, you don't have gold, you don't have things that you can...
Tangible things?
Yes. Like, oh no. Poor Deadpool. Okay, well, I won't use that one. I'll use this one. So this Deadpool right here is now worth $1 billion. At least to me. Right? But if you don't have cash, you don't have gold, you don't have precious metals that you can, just magically pull out of your butt and go down to the store and get something, well, that's going to be an issue now, isn't it? Because you have nothing of value. And if something were to happen to the servers that hold your money virtually, since you don't have actual tangible cash, what happens to your money?
You're shit up a creek.
There was
Absolutely.
a glitch. I'm sorry, there was a glitch. You don't have any money anymore.
But what? I thought that the banks were backed by the FDIC.
What if there's an EMP countrywide? All money means nothing. Maybe this is a good thing, right?
It would be you that turns it into a good thing.
Maybe it's not so bad after all. I mean, after all, I should pay taxes on what I make, right? What about my kids whose lawn mowing business they cannot do anymore or they get taxed on it because, they're making $300 a year or more. And now it's trackable. Sure, it's not like it was 10, 15, 20 years ago when getting a merchant account to accept credit cards was like pulling teeth. Now you can sign up for Square, right? You can sign up for PayPal Cash or PayPal whatever pay is. All these other things. You don't even have to present your driver's license anymore.
And PayPal's your third party, so they're going to be an easy target too because.
Well, not only that, but they could fuck up their numbers. Accidents happen. I'm not saying a computer isn't infallible. By God, everybody should know that they're not.
Especially with the JCPenney and TJ Maxx and all the hackability factors. Even screw the server crashes. What about the hackability? Ease there. Ugh,
So they're also talking now about the COVID vaccine and how they're going to do a microchip in your hand, et cetera, which they have them already. Problem being that their range is about 50 feet. You think that you got hacked now? You think somebody stole your credit card information now? Do you know how easy that's going to be to get an RFID signal from anybody or everybody in a crowded room?
And that's why they say don't use your computer in coffee shops for any kind of personal
transactions.
Yeah. because anybody with any kind of computer knowledge can say, ooh, I can kind of piggyback off of this signal, and now all of a sudden I have all your passwords, I have all your usernames, and I sure as hell have all your bank account infos.
Yep. So
This is why I want to go off grid. Just want to live off the land, hunt my own food, grow my own food, purify my own water, and say, screw you.
okay. So there's control of my money. You now have control of what else of mine? So you have control of my money. You have control. The internet. As much as it is a great thing for knowledge, it's also a great thing for disinformation. It's a great thing to have out there to get the word out about things. It's also a great thing to get the incorrect word out about things.
It's a great way for independent fact checkers to tell you you're wrong. Oh.
Yeah, which I think is funny because they don't really have to be that intelligent to be a fact checker. They don't have to actually check facts. They just have to like or dislike them. There's something on Twitch. I saw that there was a lady who got hired, and she was transgender or something like that. And so she went out and, she was tweeting, I believe it was, that, now you're really in trouble because now I can ban you and all this other stuff. And it was just kind of really strange to me.
So basically they're hiring mods like games used to. Games used to hire people or promote players to be moderators so that if a player wasn't playing by the rules, they could mute them, they could ban them, they could deactivate their accounts.
Exactly.
And now they're basically hiring mods for all the social media sites. And Facebook's glitching out again.
Yeah, I saw that. Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so you have control of my information. You have control of my money. What else?
Well,
you're kind of brainwashing me with mainstream media, right?
Of course.
It's all based on a narrative. Left, right, center. Doesn't matter. It's all based on a narrative.
And so many people are just drinking it up, and it's the fear. It's
and like he said, the tuberculosis issue. You weren't told to wear a mask back then, so you didn't.
And what about
Sheep.
the 300,000 to 400,000 people that die every year from the flu and common cold and pneumonia and oh my God, every virus known to man is now a boogeyman. Oh.
Yep.
Wait, nope, that's just COVID because that's what they said.
Exactly. All right. So you have control of basically my mind, my money, my information that I can get. What else makes a monitored society? Oh, control of your physical being.
Can't go outside.
Can't go
to
outside
parks.
without a mask. You can't go to a park. You can't go to a movie theater. Lord, fucking California is basically shutting down again.
Yep, same thing with New York.
Yep. And I have no sympathy for them whatsoever. As far as I'm concerned, they should shut down and close permanently everything in those two states.
Can I throw a wild card out here real quick?
Only if it's on topic.
Sort
I'm
of.
going to mute you for the rest of the thing.
It's sort of on topic. That whole FEMA crap that you were telling me about a couple weeks back. About the stockpiling and whatnot. I feel like that ties into their end game.
Well, of course it does. It's population control. We'll get into that.
Okay.
So I can't do things. I can't be told, I'm being told what is and what isn't. I have skewed information. I have no money.
That's a pleasant way of putting it. Skewed information, I'd say completely incorrect.
So control of what? The food supply is next?
I'd imagine so.
Yep, they've been already doing that, though.
Yeah, to an extent.
Restaurants are shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Bars are shut down.
Oh, God, there was a ham crisis.
Oh, that's right.
Do you remember the ham crisis of
I do.
2020, just a few weeks ago, where, oh, my God, we're running out of ham? Well, it wasn't really we're running out of ham. The problem is that because everything's shut down, there's a surplus of food and it's going bad.
Ooh. I remember, having to tell customers, I'm sorry, you can't build your own food with ham, but if you get one of our specialty items, then we can give you the ham. Like,
But that's just it. I mean, the same with milk. So there's food shortage, supply shortages, which aren't really shortages. They're just, if you were a trucker, would you want to go to any of these fucking cities?
oh, hell no.
I wouldn't. Matter of fact,
Not with this Antifa and BLM shit.
well, and I believe
Right.
I mentioned this last time, was that there was a message sent out to truckers. Like, truckers have this little GPS kind of notice thing in all their trucks now. Keeps track of all things for them. It's kind of like their logbook, only it's now digital.
Well, of course it is.
But because, tracking. But they got a message that was basically saying, if you are in one of these cities and it's getting to the point where there's people around you, do not stop. I mean, it was telling them point blank, do not stop. You are to keep going fast enough to keep anybody from getting on your truck, get to a safe place, and then call 911. Oh,
And that Antifa video?
gosh, how stupid. You have to get rid of police. You have to get rid of law enforcement. And why is that important?
Because the law enforcement, when they're actually obligated to their post, will say when they sign their contract and take their oath, they are sworn to uphold moral obligations. And I know I've seen a few videos of them coming out saying these stay-at-home orders, the mask orders from governors, from mayors, from even the federal level, they're not laws and therefore not enforceable. And they're absolutely right, because were you going to say something?
I was going to say a lot of things, but I was waiting for you to finish.
Laws have to go through the House, then they have to go through the Senate, then they have to be signed in by the the executive office.
They have
And
to be a law.
yeah, and so therefore all of these mandatory orders aren't enforceable. So, if the law enforcement won't uphold our will for us, then they're no use to us.
So what does law enforcement do ultimately? Law enforcement
Protect the people.
is supposed to serve and protect the people from literally themselves. The people. But why is it important to get rid of the law enforcement? I will tell you right now. Are you ready? Are you listening?
Listen.
Bated
I
breath?
am.
Because without law enforcement, what does that leave you for an executive or an enforcing branch? The military.
And what is the military?
And the military serves the system, the master, the chief,
And-
the whatever you want to call it. In our society, it's technically the president, right?
In theory.
The president is the chief executive officer, et cetera, et cetera. But every state has the National Guard, which is an extension of the military, which is the local branch, if you will, of the military, right? A force that's that's there to enforce things of the executive branch of government for that state.
Which is why we don't want martial law.
So by getting rid of the police, what you're doing, or what they're doing, is they are working to get it so that it's a military decision and out of the hands of the people. What else makes a monitored society? Surveillance.
Drones, traffic light cameras. Oh wait, our cell phones, because didn't they
I was gonna
approach
say-
that in The Dark Knight, where he turns everybody's cell phone in Gotham into like an echolocation?
Yes, movie buff, they did. But in reality, that's not far off either.
Didn't think so.
Right? You have every person with a cell phone has a camera and a microphone available. And I don't know if y'all saw it, but there was that service disruption a few weeks ago. And then
Yep.
suddenly there's a COVID-19 tracker on my phone.
Wait, what?
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't find it on mine.
So let's see. Do you have Android or Apple? If you have Apple, I'm
Apple.
sorry, and I couldn't tell you.
And I'm so blind. I knew there was a service disruption, but I haven't even seen any kind of COVID tracker on mine.
Let me see if I can find the thing here. Hang on.
Yeah, it was under the settings program. I believe that's where my friend found it.
Yeah. So yeah, but all this happened during that outage that we had on T-Mobile, Sprint, and Verizon. Basically, a few weeks ago. I don't know. It was a few weeks
That was
ago. To a
annoying
month
as
ago,
hell is
something
what
like
that was.
Yeah, it was a few weeks ago.
So yeah, let's see. Go to settings. So on Android, grab your phone.
It's on the charger.
All right. So you go to settings, and then you go to Google, and then you go to Google settings, and it's right there. COVID-19. Whoops.
Okay, so it's under Google settings. All right, I'll have to check
Yeah.
mine.
So on Apple, you go under settings,
I'm assuming Safari.
and then privacy, and then health. My lighter go.
Like, the more we talk about it, the more ridiculous it just seems to me.
Okay, so if you happen to have been near somebody that had COVID-19, you can expect to get a little notice. Hey, you've been near this person that has COVID-19. You need to self-quarantine, blah, 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 blah. At least that's what they say it is. Nothing major. No big deal.
Mine is off. Thank goodness. I checked it.
Yeah. But it's there, isn't it?
It's like
Sure
the-
is.
You probably get the tech from the dating apps. You get on a dating app, and it's like, hey, you just passed by this person that has the same dating app as you.
Yep. That's exactly it. So we're monitored that way. We're monitored. I mean, fuck. You can't go anywhere near a building anymore without at least one camera seeing you.
Yep.
Like that guy said, it's a beta test for the AI facial recognition stuff. Interesting. Okay, so let's see. What do you got? You know where I'm at. You know what I'm doing.
You know what I'm
You
buying.
have control over my money, if I have any money at all. You have the complete control over information that I'm given, the complete control of access to information that I have. What else did I mention so far?
Bunch of stuff. Oh.
A bunch of stuff.
Although I have to wonder, theoretically, if we started our own currency system like the caps and Fallout, would they like ban Coke and Pepsi and all soda at this point so people can't use the caps as currency?
Well, I mean, no. The thing about currency is if you create it and there's a need, it's just like Bitcoin, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really fucking uses Bitcoin, right? Except for a few nerds that are out there, whatever. And that's fine. But the point is that they have a monopoly, so to speak, on Bitcoin. And a single Bitcoin is worth what, like $9,000-$10,000, something like that?
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Jesus, fuck.
And it's a cryptocurrency. You mine for it with a computer with like amazing stats.
Welcome to the gaming world.
Essentially, yes. So really a currency is something that is used to trade. I mean, way back in caveman days, they might have used
Rocks and sticks.
rocks and sticks and arrowheads and barter system stuff.
At least when they could use what they traded for to benefit them and not trading around little pieces of paper.
Right. Well, I mean, everything used to be coin for many, many years until they realized, oh, hey, paper's cheaper. We can make paper and put these little things on it and print it. And wow, now it's cheaper to use paper currency. So, that's interesting.
Well, yeah, in my grandfather's generation, that's what he used to do was stock up on gold coins, silver coins, platinum, whatever, titanium.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they used to, wanted to retire with was collecting those coins. And, it's amazing that that's all kind of went underway.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when we went off the gold standard, it became illegal to own gold for many years.
Speaking of the gold standard, they've been doing that shit for years. Like, oh hey, your stuff's safer with us. Keep it here. Oh, we don't know where it went. Sorry. Now we're gonna have to go off the gold standard. So now you've got
Well,
oil standard and
No, that isn't exactly how that worked. But yeah, I mean, when we went off the gold standard, we went on the oil standard, essentially. And oil is what backs the greenback or the American dollar. So, hey, if all cash is electrical and virtual, essentially, then it's even easier to print, right? I just add a couple zeros to my bank account balance. Boom, there you go. Prove that I didn't have that. Okay, well, didn't have it yesterday. So a monitored society. What is so bad about a monitored society? Isn't there safety in being monitored?
in whose eyes? I don't.
Whoever's monitoring.
No. Like I said, monitor this.
Then you're
So
no longer in a free society if you're being monitored.
Exactly.
God. Anyway, I'm not even gonna look at that. But so why is that so bad? So think communism up until the early 80s, late 80s. That was a pretty monitored society.
And that's what we're headed back to.
Socialism, pretty monitored society. You're given everything essentially by the state. Well, that's not so bad, right? So there was a teacher, a social science teacher, I believe, somewhere who was having an argument with their students. I don't know if this is true or not. It come up in a facts check as false, that they never really did this, but it makes sense to do this, so I'm just going to say it like they did it. What happened is that the students said socialism is a good thing, we want socialism, et cetera, et cetera. And so to prove the point that socialism doesn't work, supposedly this teacher said, okay, we're going to go by the socialist model. Every test, every paper, et cetera, will be graded on a sliding scale, and everyone will receive the same grade. And the students were like, great, cool, whatever. First test comes around, everybody averaged out to a B. So the teacher gave everybody a B. The people that usually got A's were really kind of pissed off. People that usually got D's and F's were very happy. Second test comes around, and the people that usually got the A's were like, you know what? If everybody's getting the same grade, I'm not going to work this hard. The other people that didn't get the A's, that were, C's, D's, F's, were like, we're not doing anything. Fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
The grade slid from a solid B to a C. Third test comes around, D minus. Fourth test comes around, everybody's failing. And the teacher basically at that point said, okay, so now for your final grade, you all have to write a paper. And in this paper, I want you to tell me why you think socialism will or won't work. The consensus at that time, and the teacher also said this will be your final grade. And it will be graded the same way. And needless to say, everybody supposedly failed. Because the ones, again, who usually got the A's and B's were like, well, fuck, if we're the only ones doing the work, we're not going to do the work. This is how socialism works, people. There is no incentive to work harder, to gain more, if everything is given to you. It's just like knowledge, right? If I gave you all the answers to every question you ever asked, would that make you learn?
No.
No.
Would that make you retain the information?
Definitely not.
Nope.
Would that make you smarter?
Definitely not.
But you have all the answers.
Yeah, but you didn't do anything to learn it.
Exactly. And that's the point, is that in order to get ahead in life, you can't depend on handouts from the government, from friends and family, et cetera, et cetera. Plus, if everybody's doing the same, making the same, living the same life, there's nothing to get ahead to.
Well, and that's what made America so great back 150 years ago. People in these rundown third world, maybe not even third world, but rundown countries were like, dude, I am tired of living under this king, this queen, this
Jack, the spade. Oh, wait. Yeah, go ahead.
jackass, maybe. But America's the land of opportunity, right? If I go over here, it doesn't matter what my background is, who I was born to. I can come over here, and if I work hard enough, I can have anything I want.
That's another thing that really bothers me about today's society. Everybody's going around saying they hate America, except when they can get something from it, be it welfare, be it, Me personally, I think the welfare system needs to go away completely. If you're going to be a baby making machine, you should have the ability to support your fucking self. I think, I could get into a number of things, but I think, number one, I'm pro-life. Well, I'm technically pro-choice, but I'm pro-life. I believe that abortion is wrong. And the reason, the only time I don't believe it's wrong is in the case of extremes, right? Like you were raped.
At the age of 13.
Well, it doesn't matter your age. I don't care your age. You're raped, it's incestual, it's something along those lines, but there are still ways out of that, right? They got plan B, which, if you're raped, give them a plan B, go about your life. For me, if I were to say, we'll say, that life begins at conception. There is a spark of energy that is created when I'm going to use the term child, is created. And in my mind, a fetus becomes viable at 3 weeks. Its consciousness begins to grow at 3 weeks. And anything beyond that, it shouldn't be able to be aborted. Now, does that mean that you have to keep it? No. There are plenty of options. There's adoption. If the state really wants to get involved, they could say, hey, we're going to go ahead and take the child and we will raise it, et cetera, put it in the military. I don't care. But it shouldn't be aborted. And until people get in their mindset that abortion is wrong, you will not convince me to follow anything like Black Lives Matter, All Lives Matter, fucking Dick Lives Matter. I don't care. No. As long as you're out there slaughtering babies, the ones that truly can't speak or do anything for themselves, your life doesn't mean shit to me. This has been a public service announcement. Thank you. And I mean that.
I do,
wholeheartedly.
I know you do, and I'm right there with you on that one. There's a reason I don't have a kid.
I am too.
There's a reason I don't have any kids, and it's because I know I don't have the patience. I know that for a fact. If I had a kid, I'd be so much worse mentally than I already. I'm already ready to strangle everybody with the exception of like a handful of people. So,
well, there are ways to prevent getting pregnant.
it's called.
They also need to, everyone says my body, my choice. Okay, fine. I agree with that. Your body, your choice. However, the child inside of you is not you.
That I say your body, your responsibility.
Well, it is my body. It's my choice. It's your body. It's your choice. But the choice to have sex where you became pregnant was your choice. And you chose it at that point to have unprotected sex, knowing the risk that you could get pregnant.
Like I said,
Therefore, it is your choice, and you made it, and now you have to deal with it.
Yep.
You know, abortion kills more people than COVID. I don't remember the abortion pandemic.
Let me see here. I'm going to go to Worldometers, even though we know we can't freaking trust their numbers for COVID. But Worldometers.
I don't trust the numbers for COVID, and I will never trust the numbers for COVID.
I'm just going to see, though. What? Are you serious? You're telling me that...
COVID killed 4 people.
No, it won't even let me go to Worldometers because it's telling me it's not a safe site now.
That doesn't surprise me.
Like, what the fuck?
All right. Anything else on monitored society that you guys want to cover?
I was just going to go along that FEMA line that I mentioned, if you want to tag that real quick.
So FEMA's been, well, okay, so I can't remember the name of the act that the president invoked, which basically invoked FEMA. But he invoked it, and FEMA is active now. FEMA has been for years stockpiling on things like burial vaults, you know, the big plastic, basically it looks like 3 or 4 bodies could fit in it kind of vault. Alex Jones did a thing on this like years ago, and so did Jesse Ventura on the conspiracy theory or conspiracy theories. And it showed basically where FEMA had stockpiled all these, you know, body bags and burial vaults, and then shortly before they found out that, or yeah, shortly after, I guess, that they found out that it had been filmed, they were all moved. Mm-hmm. So if you ever see one of the FEMA camps, if you will, it's very interesting because typically if you want to keep somebody out of a place, so like here's the inside, right? Let's say the microphone's the inside, right here. So this and this area is all inside. This and this area is all outside. If you want to keep somebody out, typically you'll take barbed wire and set it up this way where it's pointing outward, right? Because it's hard to climb barbed wire when it's doing it backwards. The FEMA camps, on the other hand, have the barbed wire facing inside. And that's usually to keep people in.
You see that on prisons.
Yes.
Sorry.
So,
No more shit.
yeah, it's kind of interesting if you ever see these FEMA camps. And there's one actually in Fort Collins, which is, you know, way that way. But there's one in Fort Collins. I believe there's one in Denver, too. I'm not sure.
Wouldn't surprise me.
But they're all over the place. If you ever get a chance and happen to drive by them, please do. Check them out. Take pictures.
The thing that concerns me about FEMA is that somebody I know got an email from what would be considered a conspiracy theorist site, publication, whatever. And it said that FEMA was stockpiling guillotines and was planning on implementing a communist society, and anybody that didn't conform to this communist society would be rounded up and knocked off. So, I mean,
don't know if that's true. I have a hard time believing that they'd go to guillotines and not gas chambers.
Well,
or something similar, you know. Typically, a guillotine would be made for like a public type execution where you're trying to keep people in line.
you never know.
So, I mean, it's possible, sure. I wouldn't put it past them, but it seems to be kind of stepping backwards in the population control, you know, because it takes a while. You have to pull it up, you have to kill the person, you have to take their head away, you have to clean it off, you have to pull it up, you know, whatever.
Well, at least it doesn't require electricity. So, I, like we both said, don't trust the number of cases, but for whatever, we'll just say, they've said that so far to date, since the start of pandemic, there's been 575,525 deaths. Now, if we're going to other numbers here...
Is that worldwide?
That's worldwide.
Okay.
That is the total number of deaths from COVID. So far, this year alone, there's been 260,220 seasonal flu deaths. There have been 22 million, and this number makes me want to hurl, 22,696,800 and counting abortions this year.
Yep.
Damn.
22 million, almost
That's
22.7.
Yep.
And you want to talk about lives matter my ass. Oh, let's see. We've got 2,666,000 caused by smoking, 1,330 some thousand caused by alcohol. Cancer's killed 4.3, almost 4.4 million. Malaria's caused 520. Oh wait, malaria's caused almost as many as COVID has.
It's a malaria pandemic.
I know, right?
It's an abortion pandemic.
And I'm just
Well, I mean, in all fairness, if we social distance, we wouldn't be having so many abortions.
sorry.
Only the largest survive.
And there's been 572,000 suicides, 720,000 road accident fatalities.
Oh my God, we're in an automobile pandemic.
Deaths caused by water-related diseases is at 449,000.
Oh my God, we got a lake pandemic.
My point. And it's just like,
Personally, I think we need to legalize everything and let God sort it out.
well, it's just like, really, people? You're scared of something that you know they're altering numbers on.
Well, they're altering the numbers on COVID.
But that's what
I mean,
I'm saying.
everybody knows this by now.
They're still scared of it.
They were giving money to hospitals that included COVID as a diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if they died, it's like $13,000. If they just put it on as a diagnosis, it was $5,000 or something ridiculous like that. It's just nuts. It's all stupid, and I don't trust any of the numbers.
Nope. What trips me out right now is the money spent on illegal drugs this year. 213 billion and counting.
Spent on illegal drugs,
Yep.
like cocaine and stuff, or what? What are you
I
talking about?
imagine. I don't know.
Awesome.
That's the number. But it does say we only have 43 years left of oil.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens in the next 50 years or so. Thankfully, I won't be here to care. At any rate.
Just like these numbers just make me laugh, with the exception of the one that makes me want to hurl. So,
Yeah.
just like, people, grow a freaking brain, please, for the love of all that is good.
But the problem is there's so many brainwashed people. They don't, they just believe blindly everything that's going on. That's why I had to unfollow a bunch of people on Facebook because they're just going along with the narrative. And it's like, okay, another sheep being unblocked, block him up. But also, I wanted to say too, being on the healthcare side, because since I work for insurance, most of the plans out there are encouraging. There used to be and there's very few now that I've noticed that, especially when it comes to abortion, where you're allowed to actually, have that kind of care. I know, like, what was it? Hobby Lobby was fighting it for a while because of their religious stance, but it's being treated as an option, like anything. Like, oh, I feel like having a pill today. I'll go and have an abortion today. I mean, it's being treated so like,
nonchalantly.
It doesn't.
Yeah. Yep.
Exactly, and that's a big problem. And I agree with you. I'm pro-life as well, and I believe in abortion if you were raped or any of that kind of stuff. But otherwise, no. You made your bed, you lie in it. Basically, I mean, if you want to have unprotected sex, and I don't know about you guys watching, but a lot of the younger kids nowadays, they don't even think about any kind of protection. None. Neither the guys or the women. So it's. It's like I said, well, it's an option now because I have healthcare and I'm covered until
Yeah, and that's another thing, right? Is they have all these weird stipulations on whether you get a hysterectomy or tubes tied or
you have to have at least one kid before that ever happens.
Or a vasectomy even. They're like, oh no, you can't do that until you have a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
like they told me when they told me I needed to be 40 or already have at least one child before they would consider giving me a vasectomy. I almost said hysterectomy. Wouldn't that be funny? A vasectomy. I've had friends that weren't able to get a hysterectomy, even though there were, or not a hysterectomy, but have their tubes tied until they had at least one kid or one or two kids. And it's like, if you don't want children,
Or you're not the
You should be
motherly type.
able to have a hysterectomy or a vasectomy and not have to worry about it.
Well, and that takes away your choice again, and you know, in a different route. Like when I had to have my hysterectomy, I was 40 when I had mine, and it wasn't by choice. It was something that, you know, just was a medical. It was either have it or you're gonna die. So I said, frick it. I wasn't planning on having any kids, so
Yeah.
have it. But it was amazing that, you know, it was so easy. It was like, well, we're not going to do this. We'll just take it because, you know, you're over 40. What the hell? You know, it's kind of like that.
Mhm.
It was a bizarre scenario when that all went down. So that's why I get surprised when I hear about people that are saying, wow, they're not going to let me have that. Why? I mean, it was so easy for them to just do it for me,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, it's almost an outpatient. Well, it is for guys, and it's almost an outpatient procedure for women now.
Well, yeah. If you have it a certain way, not the way I had it, I was inpatient for 3 days. They had to cut me open. So
But still, 3
yeah,
days
fun
is
times.
nothing, right? That's a long weekend. Okay.
Yeah, but it wasn't exactly like an easy thing. It was
No.
basically, you know, it took me like 6 months, not 6 months, but like 6 weeks to recoup from it.
Right.
So, you know, it's not, you don't realize when you're using your stomach muscles on just like getting out of bed was
Sitting
difficult.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, as time goes on, that becomes easier. For example, when my mom had one, right, it was it was a medical thing. She was in the hospital for 2 weeks, and then she had almost like 4 months of not really being able to do anything. And it wasn't just her being lazy; it was legitimate. She couldn't do anything because, you know, now they can they can increase the size of your breasts through a small incision, whereas, you know, 5 years ago even they had to open this up and it would leave big scars and stuff like that. And so, I mean, as medical procedures happen, I mean, mine was nothing. You know, I mean, hell, back surgery nowadays, you're up and walking the same day. It's not like it was 5, 10, 15 years ago where, you know, you have back surgery. That was like a major issue and you would be out for at least 6 months.
With the potential for death if they freaking
If
hit
they
the wrong
fuck up. Well, and
Yeah.
I mean, there's always potential for death, but,
Less now.
but I mean, yeah, it's like a fairly non-invasive procedure. I know somebody that got their tubes tied that it was like 3 hours in surgery, 2 hours in recovery. They sent her home. Everything was fine. I know somebody who had a hysterectomy about 6 months ago or something like that. And like all in all, she was out less than a week. You know, she was not exactly the most comfortable person to deal with, but she was out only for like a week. She was able to go back to work, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, there was some residual pain, but it was basically three holes that they punch through your stomach and they take it out. And
Yep.
it's like, yeah.
Right, that's how they do it now. If you have any complications,
Yeah.
yep, that's the way they do it.
And as far as the whole unprotected sex thing, I think part of the problem is it's not being talked about and it's not being taught to young people. I mean, yeah, they've got the sex ed classes, but I mean, America, it's not a talked about thing. It's, well, for lack of a better word, it's taboo. You can't talk about sex. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about that. Everywhere else in the world you can. But here it's taboo, except they use sex to sell food because, I mean, everybody wants that Hot Pocket that just looks so good. It's melting in the bottle's mouth. But it's not talked about. The consequences aren't really truly discussed. It's not talked about in like, hey, this is what's going to happen if you do this. Yes, it's your choice, but this is what's going to happen if you do this. It's like, oh, wear a condom or you might get HIV. Wear a condom or this. And it's not discussed, and these kids are going out and the animal instinct's taking over and, oh my god, I'm horny as fuck, let's do this. And then all of a sudden 9 months later the girl's freaking popping out a kid not knowing what the frick ends up freaking the world.
Yeah, but see, the normalcy now is you get pregnant, go have an abortion. You don't have to worry about it anymore. Or if you
Exactly.
get a disease, They
Yep.
can prescribe you any kind of freaking drug you want. Now you're taking a pill for X amount of time to get rid of your STD. Or if they get lucky enough, maybe you get something that will last for a long time, like AIDS or something like that. Think
Well,
about it.
even
It's a
that doesn't
system.
have the stigma that it used to.
Nope.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's not being taught. It's not being talked about.
Well, and I mean, also you have drugs for PrEP, which is basically the HIV virus is so low in your system that you're considered not contagious. There's, I mean, the society has turned from a thing of accountability to a thing of crybabiness.
And I was just about to say, everybody's offended at everything.
Yeah.
You can't tell somebody a joke anymore without that liberal snowflake. Oh my God, I can't believe you said that. That hurts my feelings.
Yeah.
I'm going back to PC baby shit.
And, I mean, look at movies. Look at movies from the 80s, from the 70s, 80s, and 90s even. I mean,
Especially Disney. Disney was far from PC.
Well, I mean, Disney was very PC no matter what the era, but Blazing Saddles, you could not make that movie today.
History of the World.
History of the
Well,
World.
make a
You
lot of
could
Mel Brooks movies too.
Exactly. You couldn't make History of the World. You couldn't make fucking Spaceballs even.
Because everybody's offended at everything because PC Baby is on South Park. That's why.
Hey, they were showing Spaceballs at the drive-in.
Yeah.
Dorothy, that's cool.
But yeah, so, we live in a society now where there is no accountability. Everybody's feelings matter. And the problem with everybody's feelings matter, I'm not saying that everybody's feelings don't matter. They need to be validated, but they don't need to be coddled.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If I upset you, you have every right to tell me why I upset you. If I upset you because I used a red pen to grade your paper, doesn't matter if I use red or black, you still failed. And I will point that out that you're just being stupid or that you are stupid. And if you don't like that I'm pointing out that you're stupid, that makes you even stupider in my mind. So I really don't care about your opinion. And that's the other thing. We've gotten to a point where dissenting opinions mean that you hate me. And people wonder why I say, yeah, everybody hates me. I don't care.
I don't hate you.
I don't hate you either.
I don't care. That's my point.
That's about the point I've reached in
Your
life.
reaction to my deeds means dick to me. And that might sound cruel, but what I am basically saying is I am ultimately responsible for me and how I react to people.
Mm-hmm.
How they react to me, don't care. If I offend you, sorry, not sorry.
Well, it's none of anybody else's business what anybody thinks about you. If you don't like me, it's really not my business, really.
It's your problem, not mine.
Exactly. If you don't like me, don't care. If I don't like you, you shouldn't care. That doesn't mean that I have to be mean or vindictive or trying to destroy your life, because that isn't the case. I can completely hate somebody without trying to do that. But in today's society, oh my God, I hate you. This goes back to I was with this girl and she had 2 little kids and her sister had like 3 at the time, I believe. Yeah, 3. And the big thing back then was, well, you can't come to my birthday party. She said I can't come to your birthday party. It's like, honey, her birthday party's not for another year. You don't have to worry about that.
Well, and
and it's that kind of thing that just is ridiculous to me. It's like, so we weren't going to go anyway.
well, even when I was growing up, you call somebody's house phone and they don't answer. Oh, well, they must be at the store. We'll try again later. You call somebody now, knowing damn well they've got their cell phone on their person, and if they don't answer, oh my God, they hate me. Why aren't they answering my call? Why aren't they answering my text? Oh my God, I'm going to give them so much shit the next time I see them in person. Really?
That's kind of nuts. I mean, if I call somebody and they don't answer, I figure that they're busy. I send them a text message and forget it.
Agreed, but I'm just speaking for the mentality of most younger adults and children right now because I see it on a daily basis because
Yeah.
I get to watch all my coworkers say, "Ah, why doesn't he text me back?"
That's because they're all on the phone. That's their whole life. They don't even know how to interact with each other in person. They're
Nope.
all media driven.
Hey, you want to come over to my house? We're all going to be texting each other sitting on the couch.
I remember when I was young and all phones were landlines.
Yep.
And I remember how fun it was to talk to somebody until like 3 or 4 in the morning. Now, not a fucking chance. I can barely handle talking to people for an hour. Speaking of,
We're at an hour 20, sure enough.
Oh yeah, you're way over now.
Hello, tangents.
but that's my point is that, times have changed. And even though I have a cell phone, 98% of my interaction with people is through text message. Why? Because I don't like people. No, it's just easier because my day is really busy. When I am at work, I am doing like 500 million things and I don't have time to sit there and talk to everybody.
Nope.
I can tell you every time my phone rings at my office, I look at it evilly, like, shut the fuck up. 90% of those calls that come into the office are bullshit calls, which is further makes me angry.
Even when you're not at the office
And I
and your
mean-
phone goes off, you're like, what the fuck do you want?
Yeah, exactly. But that's because I know it's usually work stuff on my phone. So, it's like, God damn it, I'm trying to watch a movie. I'm trying to eat dinner. I'm trying to fucking masturbate. It doesn't matter what I'm doing. It just bugs me.
I'm off. Leave me the fuck alone.
So, but I mean, it's gotten to the point where I don't like going out in public, period. Ever.
Agreed.
Ask my roommate.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like on the weekends when I'm off, I rarely leave my fucking house.
This is why I went up to Devil's Tower in the middle of the fucking night so that I could be at Devil's Tower before there were hordes of people there because I wanted to enjoy the solitude. That's why I went, people.
Yep. And it's like, it kind of sucks because where do you meet people nowadays? Sure, there's like 5 bazillion dating apps, right?
With fakes, frauds, and people that
Yep, fakes,
don't-
frauds, and scammers. That's 90% of the people that you find on the. I'm not saying that's everybody because clearly I've met some really cool people. But
That's right. That's me.
but it's few and far between, right?
I'm just
Absolutely.
wondering where you find all these people at.
Yeah, because I'm not going out doing stuff.
Nope.
If I do go out, it's to be out in nature by myself. Why? Because I would rather be by myself than have a bunch of people behind me
It's
or around
peaceful.
me.
Being alone does not mean lonely. You can be in a room of 100 people and feel lonely as fuck.
I would be in a room full of 100 people and feel annoyed as fuck. It's a huge difference.
Still.
So, where do you go from here? So, what do we do about a monitored society? Well, you have to fight for your own rights,
Hence why I go places.
which is probably why our next episode is going to be on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights. Why? Because somebody needs to do it.
We, the people of the United States of America, in order to form a more perfect union. Oh, wait. Stop.
Yeah, what happened to Schoolhouse Rock? Remember that?
I do.
I'm just a bill, a regular bill. Oh,
No,
never mind.
I'm just
That's
a
what we used to
bill.
learn.
Yeah, I'm only a bill.
Oh, it's only a bill.
And I'm sitting here
Yeah.
on Capitol Hill. Yep.
Hence, School of Rock is how I know how this COVID order crap ain't enforceable. Because I remember Mr. Bill saying, well, first I got to go to this place. And if at least 60% of people say yes, then I get to go to this
As
place.
your body grows bigger,
Your mind must wander,
it's great to learn.
cause knowledge is power.
Power.
It's Schoolhouse Rocking, the chip off the block.
Wait, pause that for a second.
Hang on.
Schoolhouse Rock.
I'm just a bill.
Wait, what did
That was awesome.
they say? Knowledge is power. So if you
sure
limit
gotta climb a lot of
knowledge,
steps to get to this Capitol building here in Washington. Well, I wonder who that sad little scrap of paper is.
I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Well, it's a long, long journey to the capital city. It's a long, long wait while I'm sitting in committee. But I know I'll be a law someday. At least I hope and pray that I will. But you just a bill.
Gee, Bill, you certainly have a lot of patience and courage.
Well, I got this far. When I started, I wasn't even a bill. I was just an
You couldn't
idea.
find people
Some
that
folks
know
back
how
home
this
decided
works
they
anymore.
wanted a law passed, so they called their local congressman, and he said, "You're right, there ought to be a law." Then he sat down and wrote me out and introduced me to Congress, and I became a bill. And I'll remain a bill until they decide to make me a law. I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I got as far as Capitol Hill. Well, now I'm stuck in committee, and I'll sit here and wait while a few key congressmen discuss and debate whether they should let me be a law. I hope and pray that they will. But today I am still just a bill.
Yep.
God, that in school at like free sessions while we were doing what the fuck ever we wanted to do. But in the opening song, knowledge is power. And that's it right there with the monitored society too. You control the flow of information, most of which is false. Therefore, the people don't have knowledge. Therefore, the only people with
power.
Yeah, the only people with knowledge are the jackwads up on top, and then all of a sudden, wait, they're the only ones with power because they're the only ones with knowledge.
Yeah. Good stuff, I tell ya.
That was awesome.
I'm going to play one more here really quick. Gotta love YouTube ads.
Of course.
Hey, do you know about the USA? Do you know about the government? Can you tell me about the Constitution? Hey, learn about the USA. In 1787, I'm told our founding fathers did agree.
Gotta love Schoolhouse
to write a
Rock.
list of principles for keeping people free. The USA was just starting out a whole brand new country, and so our people spelled it out, the things that we should be. And they put those principles down on paper and called it the Constitution. And it's been helping us run our country ever since then. The
We,
first part of the Constitution
the
is
people.
called the Preamble and tells what those founding fathers set out to do. We the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility.
Oh, I'm getting all nostalgic now.
I know, right?
Provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty. To ourselves and our posterity do ordain and establish this Constitution.
Okay.
For the United States of America.
Yep.
That was awesome. Remember
But you know what else that kind of brings to mind is we are, or in theory, a republic, a representative republic. And once upon a time, so is Rome. And then all of a sudden, this jackass Caesar got in power, and wait, now we're going into the Roman Empire, which was the worst possible monarchy of sorts. And then 200 years later, and I do not see America lasting 200 years as an empire later, the Romans are just like,
We already
oh,
have.
shit.
Yeah, I might have to get all these Schoolhouse Rock videos and just play them.
I would totally
Yes.
support that because, you know, they have some really good knowledge. Schoolhouse Rock
Yeah,
was live.
I mean, it's made for the younger generation, which clearly is in need today, but yeah.
I loved
Anyway.
Schoolhouse Rock. It was the
Good
I
best.
think
stuff.
that should be an episode for you coming up. Just do the Schoolhouse Rocks because they were great.
With
Today
live
on
commentary.
Taboo, Schoolhouse Rock. Let's see how quickly we get blown out of fucking YouTube this time.
Well, considering that video was on YouTube, maybe you're in good hands. I don't know.
Doubt it. Anyway, most of the videos I had are on YouTube, but yeah. So at any rate, I think we're at an hour and a half,
We are indeed.
minus technical difficulties, maybe an hour and 20 minutes or so. So I think I am going to cut it this time. Alex, any final?
Not today, other than make sure you're increasing your brain capacity and not shrinking it.
Okay. What about you, Miss Louise?
I don't have really any final thoughts except don't be a sheep.
Same thing.
Meh. Well, my
Be
final
people,
thought
not
is very
people.
simple. Fuck off. That's my final thought.
Oh my god.
Because I said so, that's why. No. In all actuality, you know, at some point in time, people are going to start standing up, and it's going to get ugly.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that comes as a result of or during or right before this election year has to be seen. But my guess is that if the Democrats yet lose again, we will be in a civil war. My guess is that if the Republicans win again, we will be in a civil war. My guess is that if an independent wins, we will be in a civil war. Either way you look at that, I am betting money that... Exactly, Danger Will Robinson. My guess is that after this election, one way or another, we are going to see a huge implosion in our country.
I would
And
agree
as
with
sad
that.
as that makes me, you know, just prepare for it. Buy your toilet paper now. Buy your hand sanitizer now. Buy food. Buy stuff that you need now. Because coming to a theater near you, we won't have time.
Speaking of final thought, I know I said one, but
Well, you already said yours. Shut up. So, with that being said, for myself, Taboo, 1069 The Arrow, Alex, and Louise, I do want to say thank you for joining us this week on Taboo, and we will be back next week. Okay, quick. Final thought. Hurry.
2012, Supernatural dissed Joe Biden, saying he was inconsequential. Just saying.
You and that fucking show. Anyway. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining us. You guys take care. Leave your comments, questions, cute remarks, requests, and or dedications. I don't know why I said dedications, but in the comment box, if you have a topic that you'd like us to broach, definitely let us know. Show at taboo.media. Go to taboo.media for the full unadulterated streams. Thank you for watching. You guys have a great day.